Well, good evening. So good to see everyone here this evening. So I have to tell you something about myself, just in case you don't know. So if I get an illustration that's really good, I will say that a lot. It's just because it makes a point. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again as an illustration. One of my favorite movies is The Fiddler on the Roof. And some of it, a lot of it is so true about tradition and those kinds of things and the battle against the world, against tradition. But there's one point in there where Tevye is talking to God, as he does quite often throughout that movie. And he says, I know we are the chosen people. But once in a while, can't you choose someone else? And it's in reference to them going through persecution and difficulties. Well, we're going to see that here in the book of Ezra this evening. If you would, turn in your Bibles to Ezra chapter 4, and we're going to begin with verse 6. And we'll move along. But before we begin, I've entitled this Biblical History of Jewish Opposition. You could put that title on many sermons, but what is interesting here is Ezra is writing about what's happening right then and there, and we're seeing the Sumerians oppose Zerubbabel and Jeshua in regard to building the temple. They got the foundation laid, and now here comes the opposition. All of a sudden, Ezra starts to write about Ahasuerus, King Ahasuerus, which is down the road. And then all of a sudden, he starts to talk about Artaxerxes, which is even farther down in the road. And somebody's thinking, well, maybe when they put the book of Ezra together, they mixed it up and they didn't do it chronologically. No, that was exactly as he wrote it. If you can think of an author who knows the end already, and he's saying there's opposition now right from the very beginning. But let me tell you that opposition doesn't stop, because in the future, this king is going to be in a situation where he brings opposition. And then later on, another king will bring opposition. And if you wanted to, you could say, and that opposition goes on and on and on. Well, I think it's not only for the Jewish people, but I think it was certainly for Christ. And I think opposition is for all those who follow Christ, all those who know Christ. So that's what we're going to look at this evening. We're going to look at verse 6, just 6 alone, the opposition in the reign of Ahasuerus. By the way, he's the king in the book of Esther. And then